Hey Google, turn on the lights. Nice. Today, we talk ecosystems. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave from Chase Summit. Today we're going to talk about ecosystems, not like plants and animals and aquariums or whatever. We're talking about ecosystems with fitness watches. On the table today, I've got the Coros Apex Pro, the Garmin 745, the Polar Vantage V2, and the Suunto 9 Baro. But we're not going to be focusing so much on the hardware as much as we are going to be focusing on the software. We can talk about the hardware all we want. We've got all these different sensors and, different material and build quality and all that. But at the end of the day, the backbone to all of these watches is the software that they run on, particularly the app that you download on your phone, because that's really the connection to your watch and the outside world. So in this video, I'll be comparing the most popular brands' apps against each other to see which one comes out on top. Spoiler, there's not really a clear winner here. Before we dive in, make sure you hit the thumbs up if you found this video helpful or entertaining, and consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss more videos from me in the future. I'd really appreciate it. If you're considering picking up any of the watches in this video, I will have Amazon links down in the description. Those are affiliate links. They help support my channel, but they cost nothing extra to you. Okay, so we're gonna go through the ecosystems one by one watch at a time with their corresponding app on the phone. We're gonna do a general overview of the app and what features are included. And then at the end, I'm gonna compare them side by side and kind of share my opinion on it. Purely just my opinion. This is just what I think. This isn't really an objective stance. It's really pretty subjective, so take that for what it's worth. Let's move some of these watches aside, shall we? First up, let's talk Coros. Of course, there's a firmware update for my Coros Apex Pro. I'm not going to be doing that right now because I want to film this video. All right, so the simplest app of all of these watches has to be the Coros app. That's not to say it's bad or lacking features. It's just a very primitive and simple app. But that's kind of where Coros prides itself. They pride themselves on really simple software that just works well and is super reliable. All right, let's just go through it really quick. So on the front page here, you've got your kind of overview of the day. I'm not wearing this watch regularly, so there's not a lot of information here. So I can swipe back to see a day that I did wear the watch. I do have extensive experience with this app, but I just haven't been wearing Coros stuff lately. Okay, so here you can see like an overview of the day. We've got my active calories at the top here, and then it's got a little calorie graph below that. You've got exercise time, steps, heart rate for the day, and it also shows your average on the right here, and then it shows sleep for that day. And then down at the bottom are any workouts that happened on that given day. You can click on a workout, and you can see all of the information for the workout. I really like the graph that Coros uses. That they're just really pleasing to the eye and easy to see. And of course, I can click on a graph, go horizontal, and then I can drag left to right and really see what was happening on the elevation graph at a given time during that run. Going down further, we've got the heart rate graph, and then we've got heart rate zones, which is really nice. Then we have the training effect and then splits for that run. I do have to give it to Coros though. When they first launched the iOS and Android app for the Coros Pace, I think was their first watch, it wasn't very good. It had a lot of glitches. There wasn't a whole lot of features to it, but over the time, they've been really updating this app like crazy and adding a whole bunch of features to it. It's still not quite there with like the Garmin's and other devices, but it's getting really good. Right, so that's kind of the summary of the day in a nutshell. And then clicking the little calendar icon in the corner brings you to a calendar view of your activities. So these rings on the calendar view are a lot like what you'd see on like the Apple Watch and the fitness app, where the rings represent your active energy, exercise time, and how many workouts you've had in that period. Clicking over to the next tab is the activity tab. This shows you all of your activities going back all the way back from all of your devices. You can also swipe left to delete an activity if you need to here. One thing I don't love about the swipe to delete feature here is that you can actually delete something by accident pretty easily. There's no like undo button right away. They should probably think about adding something like that. And then clicking the statistics tab up in the corner, you actually get a really nice graphical view of your activities for the week, month, and year. I really like this because if you use just Coros, you can see your yearly totals pretty easily. This even shows things like your elevation gain and your average distance per activity. And then clicking over to the little shield icon at the bottom here, you go to your kind of account profile page. This is where you can link the Coros app to Strava and other third-party platforms. And this is also where you can set up workouts, training plans, and navigation routes. So if you click on workout programs here, this is actually something pretty new to the Coros platform. You can create a workout. So if I wanted to create a run workout, it automatically puts in warm up, and then you can have run, you can do intervals. You can also do workouts based on power or cadence metrics. And it's really easy to set up. I really like the layout. It's very intuitive. And then if I click on training plans, this is another new feature. Like I said, they keep rolling out new features. You can create a training plan based on a whole month. I think you can go even further than a month. And basically just click on a day of the week. So week one, day one, I'll add a workout, and then I can dial in how far I want to go that day. I can also dial in what intensity I want want to go at. And you can also set it up for heart rate, pace, power, or cadence. Super customizable. I really like the training plan implementation here. We've also got navigation routes library. I've got a few routes pre-programmed in here for activities I've done in the past. So I've got the PEMI loop here. I can click on that and it shows a map with the elevation gain. And I can actually send this over to my Apex Pro and follow a breadcrumb trail on the watch itself. It's not full mapping like what you see on Garmin's, but it's something, and it's actually pretty useful. The one problem here is you can't actually make these courses in the app. There's no tools here to do that. You have to download another app like Gaia GPS or something similar, export a GPX file, then download it and import a GPX file into the Coros app. So there's a few steps. It's a little bit clunky, but once you get in there, it works really well. Another new feature Coros added to their app is this muscle heat map feature. So if you're doing strength training, it actually shows what muscles are being affected by your training. Pretty cool idea. I haven't really gotten a whole lot of use out of it because, you know, I don't get too jacked. And finally, we have the last page. You can see my Coros Apex Pro needs a firmware update. And this is where you set up your workout data. So you can change all the screens to your app when you're actually in an activity, what you want to see on your wrist. This is a really nice implementation as well. You can choose how many data fields you want per page, and then you can click on each data field and customize them very easily. This last page is also where you do your firmware updates. You have your routes, your training plans. You can change your watch face, and you can also update your GPS data. And this is where you set up your notifications. So if you want to see calls and texts and other things. All in all, the Coros app has a lot of features, but it is still pretty primitive. There's not a whole lot baked into it. I do like that they added those workout plans and training plans. I do wish there was some way to build courses in the app rather than using a third party. Just feels a little clunky that way. But overall, really solid app. And one thing I admire about the Coros app and the connection to the watch is it's just super reliable. Like out of all of the watches I have, only the Coros watches sync to Strava and to their own app super fast. As soon as you hit that stop button, it's already on Strava. One thing to note about the Coros ecosystem is that there's no website that you can access on a full-blown computer to see all of your detail metrics on a big screen. Not really a deal breaker. I know a lot of people don't even own computers anymore, but it's something to consider. Okay, next up, let's talk about Polar. Here I've got the Polar Vantage V2 on the table and the Polar Flow app. The Polar Flow ecosystem has been around for a while, and that means it's pretty polished by now. Let's run through it really quick and I'll share some of my opinions along the way. First up, you've got the diary tab. That's basically like your activity for the day. So you've got your activity goal for the day. I'm only at 29% because I haven't done my run today yet. Under that, you've got your nightly recharge. I haven't been wearing the watch every night to bed, so I'm not getting information there. But if I was, this would tell me how my sleep is affecting my training. Below that, we've got my sleep score from last night, which is 59 out of 100. And I got 4.5 hours of sleep. That's true. I was up very early this morning. Jumping over to the next screen, we've got the activity tab. So this is a breakdown of my day so far. I have been wearing the Polar Vantage V2 today, so you can see all of the data leading up to this moment. This is a really cool graph. It basically shows your heart rate for the day and also shows where you fell asleep and where you woke up. And if I click this little pie chart, it gives you similar information. So 54 is my lowest heart rate for the day so far. And then if I click this button here, it shows my sleep time. Below that, it gives me information like my steps, the distance I've traveled today, how many calories I've burned, and my active time so far. I like this analog clock layout of all of your activity for the day. It's a really good visual aid. Clicking over again, this is your training page. This shows your distance for the week if you're running or biking. It also shows how many calories you burned, the duration of your activities, and how many sessions or activities you've actually done. Below that, you'll get your training load and recovery pro data. Unfortunately, I haven't been wearing this watch every day, so like I said, I won't have that because I don't have enough data yet. But training load pro is really awesome. One thing I really like about Polar is that instead of just throwing numbers at you, like your training load is 900, they actually tell you what you need to do to improve your training. So if your training load is just way too high, it'll say in just plain out English, hey, your training's too high. You got to step back a little bit or you're going to be injured. Whereas other platforms can just spit out numbers sometimes and you don't actually know what to do. And then if I click on one of the activities, it gives me all the data. Here's a treadmill run, 29 minutes of duration, my heart rate, all that stuff. Down here, I've got the training zones for my heart rate, my calories burned. And the cool thing about the graphs on Polar is you can actually drag them around and get a real-time reading of what was happening in that point during the activity. Another thing Polar does really well is sleep tracking. So they've got an entire page dedicated to sleep tracking. This breaks down your sleep for the previous night. You've got your light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, interruptions. And you can see here I've had a whole bunch of interruptions because I have children. And below that, you've got your sleep score. So here it says I got a poor amount of sleep and I got good solidity. activity, and I got good regeneration. Unfortunately, it was only 4.5 hours, so not that much regeneration. And then this final page is kind of your setup page where you can go into your sport profiles. I can click on running, and this is where you can actually change the data pages for your activities. Simply click on add a page. You can change the layout of that page. You can change what's included on that page. There's a lot of customization here. And you can also turn on and off certain features for those activities. And on this final page is where you can view all of your devices that you have paired to your Polar Flow app. And I've got a whole bunch, including some chest straps and heart rate sensors and things like that. That's the really nice thing about the Polar Flow app is you can pair multiple devices to it. They all share the same sports profile, so you don't have to customize things on multiple different watches. It just syncs all across the board. And you can update things like your Bluetooth chest heart rate strap, like I have my Polar H9 here. That all syncs to the Polar Flow app as well. As a whole, I think the Polar Flow ecosystem is really well polished, and like I said before, they also have the website counterpart that has all of these features and more. That's where you can set up your navigation and things like that, although navigation is pretty limited on the Polar platform, but it's there. And I do like that they have the website and the app. It just makes things a little bit more flexible. They don't do anything amazing, it's just really well polished and you know what to expect. There's no surprises. Okay, next up is the Suunto 9 Baro and the Suunto app. So there's been a lot of controversy over the Suunto app. A while back, they had an app called Moves Count, and then they kind of abandoned that and moved to a whole new platform just called the Suunto app. In this video, we're just going to be talking about the recent Suunto app only. Here's the main page. Basically, this is just a rundown of your day, your steps, calories burned, and your sleep from the night before. You've also got your active time up top here, and then your goal active time, which is 3 hours for me. Below that, you've got your feed, and this is a lot like Strava, where you've got like your own activities, but you can also see other people's activities here. And it's a cool implementation, but the problem is not enough people use this platform to make use of it fully. I have a lot of friends who run, and I only have like 1 or 2 in here because they're the only people who run with Suunto. So I'm not sure how much effort I'd put into this if I was Suunto, because it's easier to go to Strava. Anyways, you can scroll down and see all of your past activities. Then you can click on activity and get more information about that. You've got a map up top here. And then if you scroll down, you've got your detailed stats for that particular run or activity. I can swipe to the side here and get even more information. I've got a heart rate graph, I've got a pace graph, and then I can swipe over on the pace graph and get speed, altitude, cadence, temperature, vertical speed, and of course at the very bottom here we've got splits for that run. You can also export a fit file directly from the app, which is really nice. Some of these other apps don't do that. And you can save any activity as a route to navigate later, which I really like. Jumping to the next tab in the Suunto app, you've got your diary, and this is kind of like what Polar has with their diary page. Basically, you've got your activities. I've got none for this period. You've got your steps, you've got your total calories burned, your sleep, and your fitness level. And the fitness level is based on your estimated VO2 max. Clicking on this little trophy at the bottom brings you into a leaderboard. And this is, like I said before, where their social platform kind of kicks in. It tries to make you link up with friends and you can kind of race each other and get competitive. Unfortunately, like I said, not a ton of people use this platform, so it's not that easy to get into. But if you've got a ton of friends who use Suunto, you might have fun with it, I don't know. And then finally, on this last page, we've got your profile, and this is where you can sync accounts like Strava. You can also dive into the app settings and tweak things. But the last thing I want to talk about with the Suunto app is this little beacon icon at the bottom here. It actually has one of the best course builders out of any of these apps possible. Even some of the third-party apps like Gaia GPS, this might be better than those. So I can design a course that I can navigate on my Suunto 9 Baro later just by clicking this plus sign, saying create route, clicking anywhere on the map. So I'll click here, and then I'll click point B way over here on the highway, I guess. And it automatically creates a route between point A and point B using popular routing. At the bottom here, it also gives you your elevation gain for that route, and you can actually add waypoints along the way. So if I'm designing a course in the mountains and I know there's going to be water at a particular point, I can add a waypoint to that point and my watch will tell me how far away from the water I am. That's super valuable for anyone like a trail runner or a hiker. You can also select how you want it to route. So you can do free drawing, or you can have it route by road or by path, and that's going to bring you on trails and roads. And there's also special routing for cycling. It's kind of shocking because the Suunto app as a whole doesn't have a whole lot going on, not a whole lot of bells and whistles, and then they just threw this crazy course builder in there. It's really powerful. It's a well-designed app and it works well. One thing I don't like is that you can only pair one watch at a time with the Suunto app. So I have the Suunto 7 and the 9 Baro, but if I want to play with the Suunto 7 for whatever reason, I have to actually unpair it from the app and then pair the 7, and then if I want to go back to the 9, I have to delete that and go back to the 9. It's just like, why can't I pair multiple devices? Especially if they ever wanted to launch something like a smaller watch that could be a companion to a bigger watch like a 9 Baro. Maybe you want something for like day-to-day life and then a different watch for trail running. The way the app is right now, you couldn't do that. Okay, so that's Suunto. I think it's a solid app. The course builder is really amazing, but everything else is kind of like meh. It's not like amazing, but it's not bad. It's well polished. It seems like they put a lot of effort into it, but there's not a ton of features. Okay, I saved the best for last, or did I? Garmin. Listen, we all know Garmin had some struggles this year with their big hack that happened, but I gotta say the Garmin Connect ecosystem might be my favorite. It's definitely the most well polished. Let's take a look. Okay, here we've got my Garmin 745 along with the Garmin Connect app. I might be a little bit biased because I've been using the Garmin Connect app for like 7 years or something, ever since the original Phoenix came out. And what's cool about that is I have data and graphs that go back several years. I can see trend lines over time. It's really great to see. So the front page of the Garmin Connect app is fully customizable. You can add what widgets you want to see here, but the way I have it set up at the top here, I've got my training status, productive right now, which is good. I've got my heart rate for the day, so it gives you your average resting and your high. Shows my stress, my steps for the day. I haven't been wearing this watch today, unfortunately. Calories burned, respiration rates, and then any recent activities. So yesterday I have a treadmill run and a road run, and then below that it gives you your last 7 days of activity. So it's nice just to be able to glance at this and see what's going on right off the bat. The next tab here is the challenges page, which I don't really take part in, but there's like a bunch of badges you can get. And so if you run 100 miles or 5K for the first time, you'll get a special badge that gets pinned to your profile so other people can see it. The next tab is the calendar page, and this is really nicely laid out. I like this. It's a lot like how Coros does it, but actually there's a little bit more information here and it's all color coded. And if I go back to last month, you can see all of my activities for that month. Clicking on anything gives you my sleep, my steps, my heart rate, my stress, body battery, and it's all overlaid on a nice graph. You can also dive in and see your sleep details for that day. Next up, we've got the news feed, and again, this is really an attempt to get people to socialize within the Garmin Connect platform. And this is a lot like what Suunto is trying to do with the Suunto app and their social platform. Like I said before, I'd rather just use Strava. There's a lot more people on Strava and it doesn't matter what device you have. And then finally at the end here, you've got your more button, and that's kind of just everything else. So you can get things like your gear, so you can track how many miles are on your shoes. You can view your performance stats, which is things like your VO2 max, 54 right now, which isn't too great. I think it was 58 a few weeks ago. So I can also view my training status here. I can view it in 4 weeks, 12 weeks, or 6-month graph. You can also view your health stats in here, so you can get your sleep data, your weight, your calories in and out, heart rate data, stress. There's just a ton of information here. Even things like hydration. If you track how many bottles of water you're drinking on your watch, this will all get synced over and you'll be able to view it here. Another interesting screen is the Insights screen, and this shows you where you stand amongst people your age and gender. So you can see here it says that I run farther than 99% of other users. That's kind of surprising. I don't think I run that far. And then in the training tab here, you can set up workouts, training plans. So again, just like on Coros, you can go through and click, I want to start a running plan. The cool thing about Garmin is that there's actually a few pre-programmed training plans built into the app. It also has plans for cycling as well. You can also set up workouts for intervals or things like that here. And a weird thing in the training page is this courses button. This is kind of weird. They buried the course builder in the training tab. I don't really get how that works out. This should really be its own tab for like navigation or something. I've probably got more than 100 in here. I make a course for every race or big run that I'm doing. If you don't have a course pre-made, you can click this create course button at the top here, click on running, click on custom, and now just like in the Suunto app, I can click and start a navigation route. So I click one point, now click a second point, and it creates a route between point A and point B. You can also add course markers here for food, water, first aid, danger, summit, and valley. This course builder has become a lot better over the years. They've updated it and made it a lot more powerful. Another cool thing is there's actually an automatic course builder in here, so where you can click automatic, you can say how far you want to go and what direction you want to run in, and it'll actually form a loop for you automatically. Scrolling down a bit further, you've got things like safety and tracking. This is also a really nice feature of the Garmin Connect ecosystem, system where this will actually broadcast your location in real time to friends and family. In the Garmin Connect app, you can also pair multiple devices, not just one. You can have as many as you want. You can also set up what music services you want to pair with your watch, like Spotify. The Garmin Connect app just has way too many features to get into in one video, and I don't want to bore the heck out of you. I'll just say that it really covers all of the bases. There's a whole lot to unpack here, and the Garmin Connect platform is just way more featured than any of these other platforms. Also, in my history, Garmin Connect has just been super reliable, except for that time they got hacked. Other than that though, really reliable. Okay, so at the end of the day, who has the best ecosystem? Which one should you buy? Well, I gotta say, they're all pretty good in their own right. I'll say that the Coros and the Suunto ecosystems are the most basic. However, they are very reliable and they work great. And Polar and Garmin have a lot more features built into the ecosystem. That said, Garmin is still way ahead in terms of features. They've got that really good course builder, music, even things like downloading golf courses and things like that are in the Garmin app. There's just a whole lot going on there, and honestly, it can be a little bit overwhelming if you're not used to it. And that's where Coros and Suunto come in. The Coros app is just super simple, super reliable. I really like that they keep adding features to it, but it's not too complicated. So if I had to rank these 1 to 4, I'd say Garmin comes first, Polar comes second, Coros comes third, and the Suunto app comes last. So that was all very confusing, and I'm not even sure where this video went at this point. I want to hear from you guys. What ecosystem are you enjoying? Which one are you using on a daily basis? And what do you like and hate about it? That's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up down below. Whack that subscribe button down there so you don't miss more videos from me in the future. And if you're thinking about picking up any of these watches, I'll have links down in the description. Those are affiliate links, and they help support my channel. I think I'm done now. I'll see you next time.